Hi everybody, welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I'm Mark. I hope everybody is doing really well today, and hope everybody's enjoying the sunshine. Finally, we've got a bit of sunshine in the UK specifically. But yeah, so it's been nice at least to finally have a summer. Um, so yes, let's get started in today's podcast. So there's a lot to take in, and there's a lot of stuff that's ongoing at the moment. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with today in this podcast about the obviously the takeover, the big story that I think we've all been waiting for ever since 777 Partners their exclusivity deal was ended, and obviously all the concern that I have and everybody else had as fans regarding where that was going, especially where they were going to find the money to actually fund a takeover of the football club, and also, of course, with all the issues, the financial issues, the legalities, and everything that went with 777 Partners over the last 8 months or so, and which dragged out for such a long time, which obviously put so much concern and worry on probably every Evertonian in the world, and also, of course, the staff as well, the people who work for Everton Football Club, Lang and Rourke, anybody else who was expecting money, and obviously the financial situation that we're in. And it's just I was just pleased, like everybody else, that it was came to an end. Why Fard Bashiri had to drag it out for such a long period of time, I don't know, but well, hopefully we won't. Hopefully he'll be gone soon. So as you can guess, that day we that exclusivity end, and within that, I think probably that first week, next couple of weeks, we had bidders from everywhere and anywhere, and it was so exciting. It was great that there was so much interest from so many different groups, all offering different plans and ideas and what they wanted to do. If it was taking a full equity stake in the club, if it was getting loans to manage the debt that we currently have, and all the rest of it. And it was great to see, and it was everybody had different ideas when it first. I think that George Downey and Andy Bell with the Dell people, but obviously we found out more that there was going to be a loan from the uh, the the owner of Dell to help them in taking over the football club at that point. But before that, we all thought, because he's one of the richest men in the world, and it would have been interesting if he was actually going to come in and actually put that money in himself and wanted to take over the football club. But obviously that was not the case. So everything, we were waiting and waiting. Who was Mashiri going to actually make the decision? Who? And then of course we had, I think, came out of nowhere, Dan Friedkin and Friedkin Group, who came in and put an offer into Farhad Mashiri, which was a full-on equity stake, paid to also pay off MSP, George Downey and Andy Bell, who obviously invested money into the club, into the stadium, and also put working capital for the day-to-day running of the club, and plus paying Lango Rourke as well to continue to build the station to its completion, which should be in December when that get completed. So yes, it was came out of nowhere. And when I looked at that and I looked at what they were offering and what was out there, what obviously the media were allowed to talk about and allowed to bring out what they were planning to do, and what that idea. I was quite excited. Um, they come across as very competent people, obviously, um, as a group, himself as well. Obviously, as people know, he owns Roma, so we will be part of a multi-club scenario, and also Cannes Football Club, which is based obviously in France. And from my perspective, okay, it's multi-club. It looks like it will, as much as we'll be part of a multi-club, it will still feel a separate entity as such, and they will focus, and they'll put a team in place. Obviously, hopefully, whoever they put in place will continually just focus on Everton Football Club and sustaining the football club financially. Obviously, getting the stadium into it'll be in completion, but also to put their mark on it, and how they want to get us as fans, season ticket holders, and everybody, members and corporate members, and everybody, how it's going to work, because they might have a different way of how we're going to be filtered into the new stadium for the season after. So that's going to be interesting, really, how uh, they may have completely different way they want to do it and how they want to work it. Obviously, Everton Football Club at this moment in time, obviously, have got a plan in place, as we've not found out how it's going to work yet. But obviously, that plan may still go ahead, but it's down to obviously the new owners. So yes, they've come in. Obviously, some people probably have a concern that the fact that they do own Roma, but I've looked, they are they seem to be really competent people, got good business minds, understanding of football as well, obviously by owning Roma. And if you've seen what's happened with Roma, okay, there's been a bit of criticism towards him regarding when they sacked Mourinho, but they are in profit. At this moment in time, they are financially stabilizing. They're a lot better run, obviously, and they won the Conference League, obviously, and so that was really really good. That they are stabilising the club and they are moving forward. They're looking at young players. They are adapting, which is when you look at what they are doing at Roma specifically, it seems to be that that is the kind of what they're doing there. We badly need here at Everton Football Club, and we desperately need that expertise and that understanding, not just on the footballing sense, but on a business sense, what not just off the field, but on the field. Because the biggest thing that we need to obviously to sort out when they come to when they do take over, hopefully it'll be 4 to 6 weeks. That's what the media have been saying and speculating that that's because obviously they've got the funding. Obviously they've paid off, as I say, MSP, and they've done all the necessaries, which has been agreed obviously by them and Mashiri through gaining this exclusivity. So that's really good news. That means that if when they do take over, the money that they have put in or money that they have paid off will be turned into equity. Less the debt will be refinanced and everything else. So the biggest thing that for me is to get everything off the field sorted, get us stabilised, refinancing the debts and everything else that is there. Look at the commercial side of it and sponsorships and everything else. We've got a brand new stadium that is nearly completed. We need naming rights. There is also around the stadium. There's also going to be lots of areas and land where the opportunities to build hotels and restaurants, bars, and everything else. To just there's a lot in that area to regenerate the area. And it's just going to be fantastic and a very exciting time when that starts to take place and start to move. But they're going to be the key figures to start the ball rolling, to look at the people, the sponsors and the commercial side of things, to look to get the best deals, not just for the name rights of the stadium, for new sponsors, new anything like that, to look, and they will have that expertise because they've got decades of experience in different businesses. Obviously, their main big business is obviously Toyota, and they, you know, so they will have all that expertise to actually get in straight away, get the right people in. Obviously, we've got an interim board at the moment, but we're getting the right people from a new chairman, chair lady, doesn't matter, CEO, financial side of it, new people, more people, hopefully to come in with fresh, brand new ideas to get this club moving forward. And it's going to be an exciting time, I think, when that day when we find out and it gets we get the statement saying that the Friedkin Group have now taken over Everton Football Club, and they then hopefully, because I believe they want to communicate with its fan base, with the members and people who they are with, and it's not just in football but in businesses that they own, and at the moment they want to always communicate to its customer but also to its to other business people, to everybody else, that this is what they want to do, and this is their plans, and we're going to keep you going. Because the biggest problem that Everton have always had is the communication. The communication is a lot to be desired, and it's been like that for a long, long time. Not just under Mashiri period, but for a long, long time before that. Never know. The only time that the communication was really good when Alan Myers was the head of communications and his two spells that he was at the club, and that was under when it was Martinez and under when Walter Smith as well. And he, I think we need a head of communication like an Alan Myers to come in and to be able to put that, you know, communicate what the Friedkin Group want to do, how do you want, what they're planning to do, how do you want to do it, and everything else, and keep us abreast and keep us. We don't know the ins and outs of deals. That's fine. We don't know any. I don't want to know anything about that. I just want to know how it's going to affect what happens on the field, and that's the biggest thing. What happens on the field, how it develops through the academy, the young players, how are they going to set that up? Is Kevin Felwell going to be involved in this? Are they going to do you think they need to bring somebody else in? Does Sean Dyche still have a role as manager when they come in? Do you see something different? Do you want to try something differently? That's what I want to know about. I want to know about everything and anything about the first team squad, through the academy, through the players, any young players that are going to come through and develop and come into the first team. That's going to strengthen the first team and get us better to a point that we can actually be competing a little bit higher up the table and get into Europe, hopefully, because that's the main thing. Get European football again, and then aim for trophies, aim for even league titles further down the line in a few years' time. But that is my focus. That's where I want to talk about when I'm doing my podcasts week in, week out. I want to talk about the football. I want to talk about the players, who's going to influence what this player can do, how they're going to affect, it's like the transfer. We all love transfers, and I'll get onto the transfers after this, this little piece about what's happening at this moment in time. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff. But if you can communicate it right to its fan base, to its members, to its customers, as a lot of people will call us, and say, this is what our plans are. You've got the right people to communicate that to us, and then we can feel that we're going in the right pathway. There is a plan, there is a direction, there is something that we can look forward to, and that's the main thing. And that's what I hope this group will do, and this is what I will. I hope and pray that they will come in and actually, you know, from day one, straight away. This is what we're doing. This is who we appointed. This is what we're planning. This is how we're going to do it, and we can get excited about that. That our future is positive. But at this precise moment, obviously, they're going through their due diligences, and they're, you have to get the approval from the usual places like the Financial Conduct Authority, the FA, and also obviously the Premier League, and I think that should be straightforward. They've got the funding in place. They'll be able to pay. They've already done it, so that's taken away that moment, that element where the Premier League is saying, oh, you need to make sure that you fund this, that you make sure there's working capital, that you have to make do all the things that they were asking 777 partners to do. They've done it. So they've already got that. So that is the positive thing, is that they are confident enough, and I'm hopeful. With my fingers crossed, I've got them here, that the approval will be given quite quickly, and it might be just as the season is starting, and also when the transfer window is due to end. So if that's the case, you never know. By that time, we might have a bit of money, there's there money to be able to strengthen the team a bit more. So yeah, so it's an interesting period of time. It's going to be an interesting summer period uh, on that front. So yeah, so it's going to be positive. So I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. Hopefully, we'll hear more from them as we go over the next few weeks. So yes, really positive and happy to see where this goes. Yes, so as you can guess, we are leading up to what is referred to as the PSR transfer deadline day. That is the 30th of June. As you can guess, obviously we need to be compliant. Uh, that we need to sort something out to get either transfers out or and maneuver money and all the rest of it to be compliant. So we're not going to breach any PSR um, regulations for the accounts for this year. So for me personally, so as you can guess, that's kicked off really quite quick as well, because what was interesting was I wasn't expecting the fact that we were interested in Tim. I'm going to say this, so I've got my phone here, so I'll have to say this right. I want to make sure I get this right. Tim Irigu Bunham. Irigo Bunham. So I'll say that about 50 million times before I get it right. So there we go. So he signed from Aston Villa. So when I saw we are agreed a deal with Aston Villa for him. He's a central midfielder. Obviously, plays very much in an Anana type of position. I don't know much about him, but he's got a lot of potential, I believe, from a lot of people at Villa on social media who have said, he's a good player. He's got loads of potential going forward. He seemed to do really, really well at QPR while he was on loan there. So really positive. So he's a young player as well, coming from their academy. So I was expecting, okay, how is this going to help with our PSR? And then all of a sudden, uh, Aston Villa agreed a fee with Lewis Dobbin for our academy graduate. I was thinking, well, that I wasn't expecting that. And then of course, if you look at social media and you look everywhere, everybody's thinking, oh, way up. It looks like Aston Villa and Everton are helping each other out to get themselves compliant of PSR before the 1st of July, and I was thinking, oh, this is great. This is a wonderful way to actually do this. It's legal. There's no issues about it, and I thought I'm all in for this, and I thought it's a good thing. Lewis Dobbin, um, you know, show glimpses, but I think yeah, hopefully he will flourish at Aston Villa. But we both clubs got good deals on that. I think we got I think 10 million for Lewis Dobbin, and we paid 9 million for Tim. I'm going to keep saying Tim. I'm not going to keep saying or my teeth will fall out if I try and say his surname. So we'll see if that, because it says something that quote me if I'm wrong. I don't know what the full facts of this is. That if it's a pure sale of an academy graduate, that there's no other links anywhere, no other club, no other money going anywhere, and it's a pure sale of an academy graduate, it looks upon as double, or the act on the accounts they put it as double in that PSR calculation, meaning that we may be compliant or we may not. I don't know if we're going to be compliant when we come to the 1st of July, but we may do, because obviously more speculation has obviously been flying around, and of course, one of them that looks likely, or maybe, I don't know, we'll have to watch this space, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and from Newcastle have obviously interested in him. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't want to leave does want to sign his contract. Sorry, doesn't want to leave. Doesn't want to sign a new contract which has been offered to him. That's what is out there. What he's believed, that he's not signed a new contract that has been offered, and the terms I believe are very, very good. If you go on the Bull review, the Bubble said it was really, really good terms that he's been offered, and so that's the situation. Is that Newcastle are interested in him? We are interested in Minty at Newcastle. Now, at the moment, could there be a swap deal there? I don't know, because it's about the values of the fees. Obviously, Everton, I believe, want £37 million for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I know he's only 1 year left on his contract, but he's still got a high value of that, and we need to do that now. Really, if he doesn't want to play for Everton Football Club anymore, he wants to do something different or move to another club, then off you go. It'd be disappointing to leave, because when he has played well, when he's been fit, he's been really, really good for us, and really somebody that we need. But as a centre forward for us, and he's shown that how good a player he is. You just take the Liverpool game as an example. That header. and running, doing the line and everything else. But his injuries, it's always been disruptive over the period last 2 3 years. And I think for I don't want him to leave. I would love him to stay, but at the end of the day, if he wants to play for another team, if he wants to move to another club, um, and if we can get £37 million, I believe supposedly the Minty offer, or what Newcastle want, is similar range in price. And also I've heard that he's supposedly agreed terms, personal terms with Everton, and he would like to come to Everton. So that's his preference. But at the moment, is can it be agreed, and will this deal be done before the 30th of June? We will see over the next few days, if it will happen or not. So yeah, and it's just it, and there's lots of other speculative other players interested in coming. We've got some interest in as well. So it'd be interesting if that deal was to take place and we were able to, sort something out. Will that actually help with our PSR calculations and actually putting that through and meaning that we'll be compliant for next season? So we're not going to have any kind of points deduction. I know at the moment there is still something ongoing from last season as regard to the stadium interest, which is still haggling on between the Premier League and Everton Football Club, and there's been no story about that, which is a bit surprising. Um, why there's been nothing about that at this moment in time. So um, we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, it's been quite interesting to see, Aston Villa. I have enormous respect for Aston Villa, and one of the founder members of the Football League with us, and I think both fan bases, both the sides of the rivalries that we do have with them. Obviously, there's a rivalry there, but there's a respect there. Two teams that have had a good history, and I just wish them good luck, except when you play us, of course. But yeah, so it's good that they've working together to look at deals and look at players, because he's going to potentially, Tim is going to be a good player for us. Hopefully, next season, hopefully we'll see more of him and he show what he's capable of in the Premier League and give him more chances and opportunities to grow and to become a better player. Um, and Lewis Dobbin, as I mentioned, he scored that goal against Chelsea, obviously, but I think he's I think he's just not ready yet for Everton anyway. I don't think he's ready to was going to get any further than being on the bench or going on loan to, the Championship club or somewhere in Europe. And maybe Aston Villa under Emery can take him on. They're looking obviously for a winger, and they can get the better out of him that we maybe not of, and they can find the potential in him that we can't. We've not obviously not been able to find. And I hope he, smashes it there, and I hope he does really, really well. So I wish him good luck, in his future at Villa. So yeah, so you got that, and also of course the good old rumblings of the Jared Brantwaite transfer, which basically, Manchester United just taking the piss as usual, thinking that they're the typical the cartel club, the red cartel clubs that basically think that, oh yes, here's 35 million, we'll just take them off your hand. We've got problems with finances, so we'll offer you 35 million, off you go. We just accept it, but we're not being bullied this time, and this time it looks like Everton have decided to stick two fingers up at Manchester United and said, no, we want the value over 70 to 80 million pound. That's how much we think he's worth. He's valuable for us. He signed a contract extension. I think it's to 2027 or something like that. And he's pivotal for our future and how we want, to develop a good squad going forward. And he's going to be part of that squad going forward. And I think he's got the captains. He's going to become, I think, a captain at this football club in the future. But the other thing is also that, obviously, if we have him, I'm hopeful, I'm very positive that we will keep him. And but next summer, might be a different story. Might be they'll get more interest, and might we'll probably get the value that we want. But Manchester United have just been lowballing us as per usual, thinking that because they're bigger than anybody else that they can just bully any club, and he seemed to think that we're just going to drop our pants and basically said, yeah, okay, just yeah, we'll take that. That's fine. That's going to help us in the PSR sense, but in reality, we don't really need to, and we don't. I don't think we need to sell him. So that's really really good news on that front. I know Romano today on social media is saying that he wants to go, but the club and people close to him, that's his agent probably saying that, but people close to the club have said that no, he's happy at the club and he was happy to stay. So I'm guessing it's either his agent is stirring pots or just trying to, or Manchester United are just trying to get their favourite journalists and that to push a narrative to give the impression that he wants to leave the football club, when hopefully reality is that's not the case. So, and he doesn't come across as that kind of person that would like to say, "Oh, I want to leave," if leave for Manchester United and say that, and rock the boat in any way like that. I don't think he's that kind of person, and I think what I've heard out there, that he is happy at the football club. So we'll see what happens on that front. I did hear today that they're going to put another offer in, but I don't think it's going to be enough to entice Everton to part with him unless it is over the amount that you know we value him at. So yeah, so lot of things going on. It's just going to continue on as we go into the next few days, as we lead up to the PSR transfer deadline day. We'll see if we do have any movement on players coming in as well, players going out. Of course, the Anana situation. I think that will probably happen in more in July, and because he's at the Euros, and I think Belgium probably don't want to give him any time to to negotiate or talk to other clubs unless they have done, unless it's going on in the background. I don't know the full story on that, but that's one person. So yeah, there's a lot to do, and I think you're right. As I go back, mention the Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If he does go, obviously we've got Beto and Chimiti, and we've still got more pay. So I think more pay probably won't be at the club neither. Hopefully we can send him on loan to another club if we can't sell him. But obviously it'll be interesting who we can bring in as a striker. Brosier's been mentioned again. I'm a bit oohing and ahhing with Brosier. I think is he is he worth it? Um, is there any other players out there that are, you know, as a striker that can come in and actually do that kind of job that Dominic Calvert-Lewin can do? It, we'll have to see, but we do need that striker if Dominic Calvert-Lewin does leave the football club. We need to make sure that we have somebody coming in to replace him because I just feel Beto, unless he, starts the season fantastically and scoring goals for fun and flying, and we see the best of him. At the moment, I'm not that confident enough that he's going to be hitting the ground running and being that main striker for us. Chimiti, I think, probably needs to go on loan to gain more experience, playing more games, more minutes, and he can show because we've seen flashes of how good a player he can be. I just think he needs more time at a club where he'll be playing week in week out and not just sitting on the bench waiting to come on for the last 10-15 minutes. He needs more time. So, and of course, just I've missed this completely. Jack Harrison looks like he's on his way back. I think his work ethic and everything that's about that element of his season last season was really good and that, but I think he was on and off his performance wide, getting forward, getting the balls in the box, and being creative in the way. He was very, 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 very frustrating. I felt when I was watching him, giving the ball away quite frequently. But I would not fault his work rate and his determination and his fight that he put out there every time he played. But he's coming back. He's on loan. There's no kind. He was just paying his wages, I think, and it was just come back in, and hopefully he'll have a better second season. Be interesting if he gets an opportunity to actually play in his preferred position, which is on the left, not on the right. So hopefully we can see more of what he is capable of. and maybe the fact that he's been on the right side has not been helpful for him last season, but he had to play that position because Dwight McNeil was playing obviously on the left. Hopefully, we might see as we go into the season start that maybe McNeil might move towards the central area, central position behind whoever the striker is going to be, and Harrison can play in his preferred position. But we also need to make sure that we have a right winger. That looks like we may have to sign a right winger as well. So it's going to be a very interesting time. Money's going to be going in and out. Players going to go in and out. So, but this week's going to be a very interesting week to see what happens next as regards players going out and also players that may be coming in. So yeah, so it's all everything's there. I will keep everybody updated. I have if everybody is on TikTok, I'm on there, so I'll keep people updated on there. If any new news or anything that pops up, I will be sharing any breaking news on there. Um, but uh, any other the main podcast obviously will be again next week, and I'll hopefully give you a more detailed rundown on everything and anything that's going on. So on that note, thank you again for listening to the podcast. I hope it's been informative. Any questions, please make in the comments below on YouTube, on Spotify, or on Twitter, or anywhere else that I put the podcast out there. Let me know if there's anything else that you'd like me to talk about. Hopefully, one thing I probably want to talk more about is be the stadium. So I want to talk about more of that. Hopefully, do that a little bit in this, some point in the summer month over the next month or two. So just keep an eye on that. But if there's anything else that you want me to talk about, just let me know. If you want to come on the podcast, just let me know. That'd be fantastic. We can arrange a day to actually come on and we can talk about all things blues. Other than that, I'm hopeful that I'll have Mark Thomas, who does the drone footage for the stage. Hopefully, I'll have him on at some point over the summer, so we can talk about everything and anything about the new stadium and drones and everything else, and Everton Football Club, obviously. So that'd be fantastic to get him on. But yeah, so please, let me know what you think of the podcast. I do appreciate all the support and all the feedback that you've been giving to me. I want to grow this podcast. I want to get it bigger and better. I want it to become a part of my life and want to become like more full time for me. So that's where I want to take it. So any suggestions, any ideas, anything like that, please let me know. So it will always help me going forward. So on that note, thank you again for listening. I'll be back on next week. So everybody have a good week and take care. This is the Rambling Toffee signing out. So take care. Bye bye.